Do you like scary movies? Well, do you? Because strange images are in the air tonight. I've sent Quasi deep into the vault to pull out some of the scariest movies ever made. So turn out the lights, get close to someone you care for, because it's time for Zomboo's House of Horror Movies. Come, let's go inside and meet Quasi. Miss Transylvania. Werewolfie. The head nurse. Officer not so friendly. And Bianca, the rack girl.
And I'm hot.
Hello, everybody! Boys and ghouls, mummies and daddies, it's your old pal Zomboo, welcoming you to Zomboo's House of Horror Movies. Ooh, this week's movie is one of the scariest movies ever made. Prehistoric Women. Prehistoric Women was made in 1950. A tribe of sexy prehistoric babes abduct a group of cave hunks for nookie. But it doesn't come easy because the cave guys would rather sit around and do nothing until the cave babes knock the crap out of them and make them take out the garbage. Prehistoric Women stars Charles Manson, Brooke Shields, Granny Clampett, Grizzly Adams, David Hasselhoff, Sid Caesar, Janis Joplin, Horton the Elephant, Gina Davis, Daryl Hannah, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Ooh, that does look like one very scary movie. Ooh, I wonder who's at the door.
Hey, Zomboo, remember me?
Oh, why yes, you're Ooh La La, the first cave woman.
That's right, and I'm here to tell you the first joke ever written.
Ooh, okay, how's it go?
It goes like this. There was this cave woman.
Yeah? Oh!
Pretty funny, huh?
Oh, yeah, pretty funny. Give me this. Hey, Quasi, come here. I got a funny joke I want to tell you. Hey, Quasi, there's this caveman.
Master, I don't like cavemen. Now, that's funny, Master.
And we'll be right back to our very scary movie after these important messages from our sponsors. Hoo-ha!
Hello, everybody. It's your old pal Zomboo down here at Zomboo's 3-Minute Horror Movie Theater with another 3-minute horror movie sent in by one of our viewers. Tonight's movie is very scary, so let's go inside and take a look at it.
Hey, you! Come back here! You have to buy a ticket!
That was one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I hope you weren't too scared, and I hope that you didn't change the channel or fall asleep. Do you think that you can make a very scary movie that's just as good, if not better, than some of the trashy movies, I mean classic movies, that I show every week? If so, send it to Zomboo's House of Horror Movies at Zomboo's 3-Minute House of Horror Movies Theater. They should be in reasonably good taste, on videotape, and not run any longer than 3 minutes. And the scarier the better.
Send your 3-minute horror movies to Zomboo today. Check out the Zomboo website at zomboo.com under 3-minute movies for the address to send your movie.
Write a scary script, get those cameras rolling, and send those tapes to me so I can put it on the show for everyone to see. Tonight's movie is brought to you in gory and scary color.
Our knowledge of the prehistoric world before the first historian sat down to write the story of his people is vague. It's founded on the research of archaeologists. Their studies of people and dwellings which existed in those times. Existed not only in rocky wastelands, but in the warmer climates, in lush prehistoric jungles. Not so very long ago, an explorer in a wild tropic jungle found evidence which told this story. Nobody knows when these events took place. Maybe 10,000, maybe 100,000 years ago. It's the story of romance when the world was young. And as all romances must, it concerns itself mainly with one man, Angor, and one woman, Tigri. This is the woman of our story. She is Tigri, the leader of her tribe. Under the spell of the full moon, Tigri and the women of her tribe dance restlessly, savagely, impelled by a feeling of frustration, of a promise unfulfilled. They dance not knowing why and continue until exhausted.
I guess they didn't have lighting directors back then.
wise one tells them to be calm. This is Loti. This is Arba.
Hello?
This is Tigri. You've met her before. This is Tule.
Hi.
This is Eros.
Good to see you.
This is Nika. This is the wise one.
This is frightening as hell.
Old as the moon and wise as the sun. She knows why the young ones dance so restlessly in the light of the full moon. She's telling them the story of the founding of their tribe. She explains that many moons ago, the tribe was founded by Tana, the mother of Tigri. In those days, the women were the slaves. And in Tana's tribe, as in all other tribes, no woman dared question the men. The men needed only to order, and the trembling women hastened to obey.
This must be what they refer to as the good old days.
She tells them that when they were small children, they lived deep in the jungle, the young ones of a band of jungle dwellers. This is Tigri's mother, Tana. She and the others have stopped for a momentary rest, tired from carrying the carcass of a dead animal. The angry leader of the tribe comes back to find out why the women are falling behind. To him, weariness is no excuse. Tana and the other women wearily pick up the carcass and continue. By now, the women are completely exhausted and must pause again for rest.
Is that why they're falling behind, or why their behinds are falling?
Angrily, the leader storms back and yells for them to get going. Row! Gora!
Please.
The rebellious Tana tells him that the men should carry the dead animal. Knocked to the ground, the infuriated, desperate Tana throws a rock at the leader, felling him. Tana immediately realizes that they must flee with the children, or the men of the tribe will take revenge on them. The women quickly gather the children and rush off into the jungle. The stunned leader orders the men to go after the women, but the women have eluded them.
Psst, they're at the mall. Hello, everybody. It's your old pal Zomboo. It's time to go visit the rat girl.
We'll be right back to our very scary movie after these important messages from our sponsors.
Hello, everybody. It's your old pal Zomboo down here in Zomboo's Dungeon Art Gallery. Do you know where some of the world's greatest artists get their inspiration? It's from this show. Are you a budding artist? Do you look like Toulouse-Lautrec? Or do you have a strange affinity for body parts like Vincent van Gogh or Mike Tyson? Maybe you have artistic ability. Can you draw Quasi the Hunchback? Well, here's your chance to show your art to the world. It's time for Zomboo's Scary Picture Gallery. Let's look at tonight's picture of the week. Today's picture was sent in by Amy from Reno, and it came with a letter. It says, "Dear Zomboo, on a recent trip to France, I visited a cave that is home to the oldest paintings known to man. I was very moved by these pictures and felt that you may be moved as well." Well, let's have a little movement, huh, Werewolfie? Oh, that was some movement. Let's go in for a closer look at this very interesting and scary picture. Ooh, I see primitive hunting with spears and bows. I see primitive use of fire for warmth and cooking. Looks like she's cooking a rat there. Up! What's this? I see the entrance to a cave with a man and a primitive hat and a hand with a club that's hitting the man wearing the hat. Oh, that's a primitive joke, and not a very funny one at that. I wonder what the artist was thinking about when they drew this picture. I think they were thinking that we should preserve our best material for the future. Now don't forget, boys and ghouls, get out your pencils, paints, crayons, and whatever. Draw me a scary picture and send it to me, Zomboo, at the Scary Picture Gallery, and I'll put it on the show for everyone to see.
Send in your scary pictures to Zomboo's Scary Picture Gallery in care of this station. Or check out the Zomboo website at zomboo.com under Gallery.
The wise old woman tells them how, as time passed, the tribe prospered under Tana's able leadership, and the little girls learned how to fend for themselves. They all learned the skills of hunting and fishing for their food.
Eso! Igris! Henda!
The child on shore, like all children are wont to do, decides to wander off and do a little exploring herself. The entire tribe is unaware that they have been sighted by the terrible Gwadi. This 9-foot-tall monster has roamed the jungle for years, bringing death and destruction to whatever he touches.
Oh, he's an engineer.
Ela! Ela!
Tana sees the little girl is missing and calls to the other women to follow her in search of the child. Savage, merciless, possessed of Herculean strength, Gwadi is the most feared thing in the prehistoric world. The little girl explains to the wise one as best she can that she has seen the terrible giant.
Gwadi! Ela! Eras! Eras! Tule! Ela! Ela!
Gwadi has successfully captured 2 of the women and is carrying them off.
Ooh, now we're getting somewhere.
Tana was the only one to get away, but has been mortally hurt and dies with Gwadi's name on her lips.
Gwadi! Gwadi!
The wise old woman flees with the children.
Gwadi!
Even now, 15 years later, the mention of the dreaded name of Gwadi still strikes terror in the hearts of these same girls. They know that the hideous giant still ranges the jungle. The wise one tells them that they must forget their hatred of Anir, their word for men. The moon is full. By the time of the advent of the next full moon, they must find and capture themselves husbands if the tribe is to survive. And the next morning, the 6 determined women set forth on their mission, accompanied by one of their panthers. This is the man of our story. He is Angor. This is Angor's friend Ruig. This is Kama and the bearded Ad. Angor and his friends are on a foraging expedition. They're hunting food for their cave-dwelling tribe. They've cornered a savage tiger and are pitting their skill with stone-headed war clubs against this vicious monster of the jungle.
Where are those frosted flakes? They're great! Not those flakes, frosted flakes.
Uh-oh, imagine what they did to Toucan Sam and the Trix Rabbit.
The panther, smelling the blood of a dead tiger, excitedly breaks away from the girls. They chase after their pet.
Gone and near.
Odd uses the sap from a tree to soothe Angor's wounds.
And the women use their braziers to capture the men, just like they do today.
Suddenly, Odd falls unconscious. Angor and his tribesmen are amazed to see that they've been attacked by members of the weaker sex. Back on!
It's the Victoria's Secret slingshot, available in stores everywhere.
Excuse me, but your loin has escaped its cloth.
Did you ever notice that women have shaved legs and armpits in caveman movies?
The women order the men to pick up the dead panther and carry him back to their camp. In the meantime, Angor stumbles along through the jungle back to his people.
Ella! Ella!
They must have captured these guys because they needed some jars opened.
Kala. Follow. Roll.
What type of women are these Ruig wonders who attack men and live in trees?
I didn't know cave girls wore nylons.
Nika gazes at her captive, entranced by her first close look at a male. This cave is the home of Angor's tribe, and these are his people. They are mountain people, cave dwellers.
Layla.
Their leader looks skyward at a soaring vulture, knowing that where the vulture settles, they will find a wounded or dead animal. He motions for his hunters to follow him.
Fra. Ella. Angor. Iko.
The men find the wounded and exhausted Angor and carry him back to the cave. Angor's mother and the rest of the cave dwellers crowd around the wounded Angor. His mother motions them to carry Angor into the cave where she can tend.
Hello, everybody. It's your old pal Zomboo. You know, according to anthropologists, Neanderthal man was not fully erect. That's because Neanderthal women were so ugly. And we'll be right back to our very scary movie, Prehistoric Women, after these important messages from our sponsors.
The following is a Zomboo public service announcement.
If plumbing fixtures in your house start shaking and spewing bodily fluids, it's time to get a new house.
This has been a Zomboo public service announcement.
Weeks have gone by, and the leader of the cave dwellers is marking on the rocks the story of the women as Angor has told it to him. Time has healed Angor's wounds, and despite the leader's protest, Angor is determined upon revenge.
Angor, Gene.
Angor vows to rescue his tribesmen and to bring back to this cave as slaves the women who captured them.
Anger hell, he's pissed.
Angor. Angor. Ela.
Angor's mother, who knows of the women tribe, points out the right direction to Angor.
Oro.
She tells him he must cross 2 mountain ranges, that it will take him 2 days' journey to reach the country of the women tribe. Every sense alive for the sound or sight of danger, Angor makes his way through the jungle toward the camp of the women.
Do you know how you stop an elephant from charging? You take away his credit cards.
Angor stumbles and loses his weapon, but cannot stop for it. He finally eludes the elephant by jumping behind a large boulder, and the lumbering animal passes him by. Having lost his only weapon, Angor must make a new club, his only protection against the many dangers lurking in the jungle. Angor gathers some stones to use for the head of his club. He starts hacking 2 of them together to make a sharp edge. A spark ignites the dry leaves on the ground, and Angor is taken aback by the strange, unknown phenomenon, fire. He stretches his arm out to touch it and draws his hand back in pain. He doesn't understand it, but he knows that this new discovery of his has the power to inflict injury. He is fascinated by the wonder of the first torch. Fear, he calls it peer, his word for fire. The hiss of a python in the tree startles him to his feet. jabs the torch into the water after the snake. To his surprise, he finds the fire has disappeared. He jabs the torch back again, trying to regain the fire, but it's gone. Strangely enough, the swan dive was invented before the swan. Tigre's jungle women have developed great skill in swimming, and it's one of their favorite recreations. On this night, Tigre, Eris, and Tule are enjoying an evening swim in this jungle pool. Rocky bed streams, Angor continues on his way. He is now approaching the outskirts of the jungle territory. Suddenly, he sees ahead of him the huge, giant Guadi. Terrified, Angor decides that the tree is his best hiding place and quickly climbs up into it.
Lucky for Angor, old Guadi didn't see the fruit that was higher in the tree.
Hey, Zomboo! They say us cave people lived 1 million years BC. What does the BC stand for?
Oh, before cable.
And we'll be right back to our very scary movie after these important messages from our sponsors.
This is the Rat Girl. She's a definite 10. Do you think tonight's movie is a 10? Well, now you can rate all the movies on Zomboo's House of Horror Movies. Just go to zomboo.com, click on Rate the Movies, and be a movie critic. I want to know what you think. And I'll keep track of the ratings to let you know which movies you think are the scariest. They got his wallet, they took his credit cards, and they rendered him useless. What a wimp! That's the second time that this guy's gotten beaten up by a bunch of women.
Go.
It seems that women were women in those days, too. A handsome male captive makes his appearance, and suddenly there's trouble.
Angor! Angor!
Rui!
Angor! Angor!
Hi!
Angor! Come on!
Tigri is not sure yet why she objects, but she wants no interference until she decides whether or not she herself wants him as her husband.
Bro! Cora! Bro!
Typical woman, always the guy's fault.
Angor is tempted to strike back at his captor, but the ever-watchful, snarling panther is a warning for him to be careful. He decides that caution is better than tangling now with this strange band of women. Tigri orders the women to feed their men. Arva decides that this is a good time for her to make up to Engor and starts to bring him some food. Sudden rage floods Tigri as she sees this. She angrily informs Arva that she has decided that Engor is to be her husband.
Arva,
But Arva violently disagrees. And so the fight is
You would think that some strategic piece of clothing would get ripped off.
And we'll be right back to our very scary movie after these important messages from our sponsors.
Oh, check me out on the Zomboo website at zomboo.com.
Angor labors over a huge rock, which Tigri has ordered him to move. He can't budge it. Tigri shakes her head at the stupidity of men. Angor finally gives up, humiliated by her look of scorn.
Gine, Elko, Lito.
He asks her if she is so wise and superior, why doesn't she see if she can move the rock? Tigri picks up a huge branch and, using simple leverage, shows Angor how easy it is to move the rock if you use your head.
Later on, she'll ask him to paint it and move it again.
Angor.
Tigri. Angor.
Tigri? Angor.
This is the night before the full moon. Time is running out for the male captives. By tomorrow, the marriage ceremonies will have been completed. The wise one drums, and the women dance as Angor and the men look on with mixed emotions. Angor knows too well what the coming of the full moon means, either escape or servitude. And as he watches the dance, the women pick up their clubs and demonstrate that in their homes, they will be the master.
Yeah, but if she marries him, he's gonna end up owning 50% of that treehouse.
Surrounded by the watching women and the ever-guarding panther, the men sit idly while Ruig, who seems to have a fetish for being clean-shaven, is scraping his cheek with a sharp-edged stone.
What's up, Angor?
Angor is trying to figure a way out of this trap.
Watch this! I can make a shorter stick!
Oh, he's trying to get his rocks off.
Suddenly, a tremendous black shadow sweeps over the camp. It is Korax, the flying dragon, the scourge of the skies.
It's a pelican!
Are gone.
Now you work for me! Take this fire and cook some dinner! Who's your daddy now?
Trouble? He offers a piece of raw meat to Angor, who's intrigued by the scent of the meat in the fire. It tastes fine, and he offers some to Kama and Tigri. At first, they refuse. But when they taste it, they both agree that it is delicious. And so, for the first time, cooked meat goes on the menu of this primitive tribe, and civilization progresses another step.
You know, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Hey, Zomboo!
Oh, well, if it isn't my little pal, Minnie Z.
Hey, Zomboo, what's small, blue, and loves to crack jokes?
I don't know.
Eddie Smurfy!
And we'll be right back to our very scary movie right after these important messages from our sponsors. Hello, everybody. It's your old pal Scoop Zomboo, Ace Reporter. Do you know why there are no dinosaurs in tonight's movie? It's because they're all in the special documentary segment following the movie. So stay tuned. Hello, everybody. It's your old pal Zomboo, reminding you to check us out on Instagram. We're posting new material every week with Miss Transylvania, the Rat Girl, Scary Picture Gallery, Officer Not So Friendly, and me, Zomboo. You can also follow Zomboo's House of Horror Movies on Facebook, YouTube, and Zomboo.com. And you can stream our show on the Monster Channel and Other Worlds TV on Roku. So be there and be scared.
Angor's thoughts are of his home and his people.
Eco.
He gives orders that they will start on their long trek back to the mountain home of Angor's tribe.
Tigri. Eco. Engor. Eco. Bora. Ela.
Angor leads them through the jungle, ever alert for the lurking dangers which abound there. Angor spots a natural cave off in the clearing. and orders the group to rush toward it.
Sounds like his hemorrhoids are at it again.
Then Guadi decides to use his tremendous strength to topple over the huge rock, covering the top of the cave, so that it will crush the men and women inside. Angor orders the other men to make torches. As the giant stumbles away, howling with pain, Angor orders the other men to encircle the area with fires, so they can forge a burning circle of death for Guadi.
I have just the thing for the burning ring of fire. It's called Preparation H.
Guadi is completely bewildered by the leaping flames and terrified by the fire. He screams in fear. Angor finds himself also trapped by the encircling fire and sees that his only escape is to go over it. Tigri looks with admiration at Angor.
Tigri, iko?
She asks him to change his mind and return to the women's camp with his men, where they can start a new tribe.
Angor, iko tigri. Eva. Angor, iko tigri.
Angor agrees and tells his friends he has decided to remain.
Who wants more Guadi?
The wise old woman is happy as she sees the pairing off of the couples. She knows now there will be peace between the tribes.
Yeah, piece of it.
She motions for Angor and Tigri to come to her.
Angor, Tigri, vamos.
She is going to perform the only kind of marriage ceremony she knows. With the blending of their blood, Angor and Tigri's marriage is completed. The first of 4 marriages to be celebrated that moonlit night, as the women dance the marriage ceremonial to show their happiness. And so in those distant days, even as today, the eternal battle for supremacy between woman and man was solved not through the clout and the club, but through romance.
Hello, everybody. It's your old pal, Scoop Zomboo, ace reporter at the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains in search of real live dinosaurs. You know, there weren't any live dinosaurs in tonight's movie, but I hear there may be some around here. And I'm with my pals, Frank and Camille, to find out all about these dinosaurs.
Well, you better believe there are dinosaurs out here too, Zomboo, because we actually found them. When we were digging right with this backhoe along these mountains, we uncovered a nest of eggs, and 2 of these eggs actually hatched. And you know, these guys might still be up in these mountains, and there might be more of them today. You never know.
Now, what day did this story start?
Well, let me tell you all about it. It started on July 27th, 1993, right here in these mountains. On that day, we were digging at a depth of about 8 foot when we came across a large granite boulder, and this is not uncommon digging in these hills. There's common granite boulders like this one all over, except that this was no common granite boulder. As it turned out, this was a nest, a large crusted over round nodule that contained eggs. We didn't know this at the time, and in our attempts to dislodge this, what we thought was a boulder, we broke the nodule open. I didn't know exactly what we had found, but I waved at Camille to grab a camera and get over here. It was terrible looking, and the odor that came from it was unbelievable. Camille kept her composure, though, and was able to snap a photograph. Whatever it was screamed and squirmed and clawed on the life, but it died in a few seconds.
Hello, I'm Camille Gardner. I do photo documentation for Charles Construction. It's with this camera on July 27th, 1993, that I took the photographs of the little animal before it died. I couldn't believe what I saw that day. Frank uncovered a nest, unbelievable nest, of 5 eggs, 2 which unfortunately were broken and contained nothing, 2 we did not harm, but the last one contained a live animal. Shortly after that, it died. That's when I got the pictures. Frank picked it up. It was covered with slime, but I was able to get in close enough to get the photographs. I also took some pictures of him holding one of the eggs that had not been broken. We didn't know what to do, so we just packed everything up and we took it back to our house. Here we had a dead animal of an unknown origin in the back of the truck, along with 2 remaining eggs from the same nest. We knew we just couldn't leave a dead animal out for any length of time, so we decided to preserve it by freezing it in water. I could hardly sleep that night, knowing what was in our freezer. Meanwhile, Frank carefully stored the 2 remaining eggs in our locked tool shed for safekeeping.
The tool shed seemed like the most likely place to store the eggs. We keep a small building behind the house for construction tools that's safe, it's secure, and it's out of sight. The eggs themselves didn't seem very fragile. They weighed about, I'd say, probably 10 to 15 pounds apiece. And surprisingly enough, they had a soft satin sheen to them. The shell was somewhat leathery, but seemed pretty stout. I wasn't so much afraid of the eggs being broken as I was having them discovered by strangers.
Well, we felt that after everything was secure, it was time that we reported exactly what we found, and that's when we got the biggest surprise of all, because nobody would believe us.
That's true. The next morning, I made attempts to contact the authorities. We tried calling everyone that we thought would be interested in finding what we found. One of the things we were very much concerned about is that we did not want to create a panic. We didn't want to release this in such a way that people would be out with pitchforks and shotguns hurting each other. At this point in time, we really didn't know what we found, other than there was an animal and there was eggs, and that's as far as we knew what we had. Trying to get belief at this point in time was especially difficult. One of the reasons, I think, was that Jurassic Park had just been released. There was a lot of media attention, and Everyone that we spoke to just assumed that we were a prank. We were not for real. It was 3 days before anyone took us seriously. In the meantime, something very strange was happening in the tool shed. The eggs were incubating. On the morning of the third day, Camille was feeding the farm animals as usual, when suddenly she made a heart-stopping discovery. Knowing something was terribly wrong, I grabbed the shotgun and the two of us ran back to the barn.
We discovered a terrible mess when we got back to the barn. It was obvious that something, somehow, broke into our coop the night before.
When Camille first came into the house, my very first impression was that perhaps a coyote or a skunk had gotten into the chickens during the night. But upon examination, it was clear that this was no ordinary animal. The chickens had been savagely attacked and eaten, feathers and all.
It was then that we discovered there was a gaping hole in the tool shed. There was torn steel from the inside out.
I think the key words here is that the hole was made from the inside out. It became apparent that the eggs we had put in the tool shed had hatched, and the animals inside of them had escaped through the wall of the tool shed. What incredible strength these baby animals must have had, even at birth, to be able to go through a steel wall. One can only imagine what the events were on that fateful night. After satisfying their hunger, primeval instincts led them to an irrigation ditch, which they somehow knew would connect with the river and upstream to the safety of the mountains.
Ooh, this is the chicken coop where the dinosaurs ate the chickens. And you know, I understand that dinosaurs like humans because they taste like chickens too. Is this true, Frank?
Well, I sure didn't want to find out. After all, when the dinosaurs got done with our chickens, Zomboo, this is all that was left. The Weekly World News was first to report the story. Thanks to the insight of their top investigative reporter, Mr. Neil Lind, we were soon put in contact with an expert, Dr. Herbert McPlatten. Dr. McPlatten was overwhelmed with our story and immediately made arrangements to come to Nevada and examine what we had found firsthand.
We were elated and relieved that someone of authority had finally taken an interest in our story. On the afternoon of the fourth day, Dr. McPlatten arrived at our home, unfortunately a few hours too late. The eggs had already hatched and the two animals had escaped into the mountains.
Fortunately, we did have the frozen embryo that we had uncovered at the construction site. It was from this little animal that he made this startling discovery. This was an animal known only in the history books, for lack of a better word, dinosaur.
There were so many questions. Was it possible that 60-million-year-old eggs could hatch? Or was it possible that these eggs weren't that old?
If the latter were the case, it would have bone-chilling ramifications. It could mean only one thing, that descendants of the dinosaur somehow had survived millions of years undetected in the great wilderness of the Sierra Nevada mountains.
Dr. McPlatin carefully packed the dead animal in dry ice and took it, along with all the eggshell fragments, for closer examination in a laboratory. He assured us that the safety and utmost confidentiality would be observed during the investigation.
Although reluctant to commit himself, Dr. McPlatin was confident this could be only one species of dinosaur, Allosaurus.
Oh, hello everybody! Scoop Zomboo, ace reporter, back with the nice lady that took the pictures of the dinosaurs. Tell me, Camille, did the dinosaurs smile for you?
No, Zomboo, they weren't smiling, they were hissing at me.
They were hissing?
Yes.
Well, why were they hissing?
Because they ran out of chickens.
Fierce and vicious, Allosaurus was called Tiger of the Jurassic Age. Weighing several tons, a mature Allosaurus was an animal you would not want to encounter. It had a large, strangely shaped head and extremely sharp teeth. Its massive, powerful tail was half its total body length. The small front legs had sharp claws, which it used to hold its prey. Standing as tall as 16 feet, they roamed the North American continent at will. This is an authentic model of an Allosaurus, obtained from the Nevada State Museum. How would such a creature look in today's world? Imagine one, full scale, nose to nose, with a modern-day earth-moving machine. How could an animal this big have hidden itself from detection? We have a theory that perhaps over the eons of time, these animals have adapted to the changing world around them. No longer was immense size necessary for survival. Their prey had grown smaller, so they had become smaller. Conversely, their intelligence had greatly increased. Today we believe these are extremely intelligent animals of moderate size, quick, agile, and clever enough to avoid the perils of civilized man. It is our firm belief that these are relatively small, yet highly intelligent creatures. Just look at the reported sightings over the years. In most cases, people have described an animal some 10 to 15 feet in length. Now, this is quite smaller than the 35 to 40-foot length of skeletal remains of Allosaurus uncovered by archaeologists. Now, putting this small length in proportion to his ancestors, this translates into a modern-day Allosaurus some 3 to 5 feet tall. If we take this extrapolation one step further, it's also logical to assume that its great strength comes from an incredibly dense tissue structure. This we attribute to a very slow rate of growth. In other words, they probably live a very long time.
Our theory is we now have an animal that is small, very smart, and extremely strong. It is no longer an Allosaurus, but has evolved into a new creature. Taken from the Latin word novus, which means new, and saurus, which means lizard, we have termed this elusive creature Novosaur.
You know, Camille, you're a very smart lady. where'd you learn so much about dinosaurs?
From the thesaurus.
Whatever these creatures may be, one thing is for certain. They have carefully avoided all contact with humans, and the greatest predator of them all, man. Perhaps they have a far greater intelligence than we know.
How can such a little dinosaur lay such a big egg?
Well, Zomboo, that's what makes them so mean.
This is indeed a land of great contrast. Beyond these mountains to the east lies vast expanses of dry desert. Scorpions, rattlesnakes, robins and butterflies, all nature's creations living in harmony and balance. Mankind beware of disturbing this balance too much.
This is Scoop Zomboo, ace reporter, reporting from the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Live dinosaurs. Are they real? Who knows? Run! Ooh, now don't forget, boys and ghouls and mummies and daddies, tune in next week for another very scary movie on Zomboo's House of Horror Movies.